What an insane week we've had, right? The PS5 Pro got delayed by 5 minutes, and everyone lost their minds. People are playing Sniper Elite 5 in real life. Yesterday, we experienced the biggest cybersecurity crash in history, and the AC Shadows drama won't stop. So let's talk about the PS5 Pro for a minute. Everyone's waiting for Sony to say something. But to me, Sony is like the kid who ate the whole jar of Nutella and tells you he didn't, even though his face is covered in chocolate. I touched on this topic 2 days ago, but today we're going to delve a bit deeper into what Tom Henderson said in his last point. So this is the thing that really stood out for me. Developers can submit their applications supporting the PlayStation 5 Pro to CertOps, Platform Certification and Operations, on July 30th, a date understood to have been finalized as far back as 18 months ago. In addition, all applications for the PlayStation 5 on games released after September 15th will be required to support the PlayStation 5 Pro. This does not mean the PS5 Pro will release on September 16th. So although not an exact release date, the information released by PlayStation earlier this week to developers suggests that the PlayStation 5 Pro is still on track to be released later this year. Documents sent to me in mid-2023 showed the PlayStation 5 Pro release date, which, if memory serves me correctly, was in the latter half of November 2024. Despite the Pro seemingly being on track, several sources have been apprehensive about the console's release later this year, primarily due to the limited number of first-party games that will use its features. However, regarding documentation, 95% of my reporting involves documentation sources. Nothing implies that the PS5 Pro has been delayed or canceled. End quote. Now, this is pretty awesome news, right? Listen, I'm not going to read out Tom Henderson's resume every time I'm going to talk about his credentials. You can either go to gaminginsider.com or watch some of my other videos. Now, what I find really cool about this statement is that it's putting to sleep all the doubts about the PS5 Pro being released this fall. Furthermore, there are so many details out there about this thing that it's ridiculous. Digital Foundry made a full 1-hour breakdown of all the specs. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is the part where it says lack of first-party games, but this is to be expected. As we know from earlier this year, we didn't really expect Sony to push out big titles. But on the bright side, I think by November, we can play games with the PS5 Pro Enhanced Gaming sticker. As to how many games will have this feature, it's hard to say. I'm expecting mixed reviews on this thing when it will be initially out. So for people that already own a PS5 or PS5 Slim, you can sit back a bit and wait. As for PS4 or PS4 Pro owners, there has never been a perfect time to upgrade and future-proof your console. Let's talk a bit about CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike, one of the world's leading cybersecurity companies, has said a defect, rather than a security incident or cyber attack, was behind a fault in one of its products that crashed a large number of Windows workstations globally. The impact has been extremely widespread, disrupting numerous enterprises from British broadcaster Sky News, which was off-air for hours on Friday morning, through to several international airlines and airports, which are canceling flights. In a message on social media, CrowdStrike's president and chief executive, George Kurtz, wrote the company is actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows hosts. Mac and Linux hosts are not impacted. The company posted a similar statement and technical information on its website. Kurtz stressed the issue was not a security incident or cyber attack. He said the fault has been identified, isolated, and a fix has been deployed. We refer customers to the support portal for the latest updates and will continue to provide complete and continuous updates on our website. We further recommend organizations ensure they're communicating with CrowdStrike representatives through official channels. Our team is fully mobilized to ensure the security and stability of CrowdStrike customers, said Kurtz. A significant proportion of the affected customers seem to be enterprises running Windows 365 cloud PCs, as these use CrowdStrike's endpoint threat detection software. Microsoft released guidance to fix the issue for both enterprise and business customers. The disruption from the issue was expected to continue for some time. Globally, consumers complained that various retail stores and other businesses were unable to take payments. Friday was scheduled to be the busiest day for flights in the United Kingdom since 2019, but reports suggested many travelers were facing delays and long queues at check-in, baggage, and security areas. In the U.S., the Federal Aviation Administration said it was monitoring the situation, and several airlines have requested FAA assistance with ground stops until the issue is resolved. As of 9 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, American Airlines was waiving flight change fees for customers traveling through several major airports. Emergency and non-emergency call centers in Alaska were not operational early Friday, meaning people needed to dial alternative numbers to 911, with several other U.S. states potentially affected. Border crossings slowed between the US and Canada. Banks and hospitals were reportedly impacted in Israel. 2 hospitals in Germany have had to cancel operations due to the incident, reported Reuters. Royal Surrey Hospital in London declared a critical incident, with an expected 1,000+ general practitioner surgeries throughout the United Kingdom affected by the outage. The White House told reporters that President Biden had been briefed on the situation, and his team is in touch with CrowdStrike and impacted entities. The first signs of the incident were spotted on Friday morning in Australia, when workstations were found to be stuck in an endless boot loop displaying the blue screen of death critical error message. The fault has been linked to a misconfigured .size file pushed by CrowdStrike to customer devices running the Falcon endpoint sensor. While the misconfigured file was automatically propagated to endpoint devices, there is no way to similarly automate the fix for crashed computers. IT staff will have to manually restart each workstation in safe mode and remove the offending software. A workaround was shared on CrowdStrike's internal customer support forum and published on Reddit. Individuals at organizations who tested the workaround told Recorded Future News that it seemed to work, although it may not be effective in all scenarios. Shares in CrowdStrike, which is listed on the Nasdaq, were down more than 19% in pre-market trading. This is insane, right? I'm so glad I wasn't traveling anywhere in this period. But imagine how big this is. This just goes to show how fragile our systems are. Now, what does this have to do with gaming and PlayStation? Everything. The fact that we are moving into a digital age means and we don't physically own our games, movies, and music. It can all disappear. This is a big wake-up call for the world. And cloud storage? Forget about it. I've got 2 terabytes of hard drives where I store all my important stuff, and it's mostly not connected to the internet. And we all know how fragile PSN is. In a recent revelation, Sony has begun sending out notifications to a number of its current and past personnel. These notices are to alert them about a breach in their system that transpired earlier this year in May. These aren't a handful of warnings either. We're talking about alerts sent out to a staggering 6,800 individuals. Leaping Computer reported on this, and in a follow-up, it was confirmed by Sony that yet another breach occurred just a few months later in September. Always online BS and cloud gaming will ruin gaming if this continues. Devs should always give us the full games, especially single-player games on the disc. But this is why I like PlayStation exclusives, because believe it or not, I can install God of War Ragnarok on my PS5 straight from the disc without worrying about internet connection. Same goes for Spider-Man 2. And let's not forget what happened with Ubisoft The Crew situation. A single-player game that you cannot play anymore. That is a complete crime, and Ubisoft should be held accountable for it, legally. And speaking of Ubisoft, what's going on with the Assassin's Creed Shadows drama? Well, I'm looking into it. I did plan to talk about it in this video, but it needs to be postponed because there is too much going on. So subscribe for that. There is a lot of misconceptions and misinformation about the investigations going on. Hopefully, I can bring it to you by tomorrow or Monday. Now let's have some fun. Back to the intellectual debates from the comment section. PS5 Pro versus gaming PCs. I want to respect people's privacy, or rather not make them famous. So for people that are not my subscribers, I will not share the username. That way we can also prevent bullying. We need to keep it clean with YouTube community guidelines. Intellectual comment number 1. PC gamers have been playing PS5 Pro games for 3 years. You mean The Last of Us Part 2, where you need to wait 48 hours to load shaders? You mean Spider-Man 2018, which is full of artifacting even on a 4080? You mean Spider-Man 2? Oh wait, sorry. That's not on PC yet. You've been playing God of War Ragnarok? You mean Horizon Forbidden West, where you need at least $1,500 to run it at PS5 fidelity? You mean Destruction All-Stars, Ghost of Tsushima? When did that come out? Intellectual comment number 2. There is a good chance the PS5 Pro will not sell very well, and the PS6 will come out in 2026, so the PS4 Pro sold millions of copies in the latter half of the PS4 lifecycle. The PS5 Pro will sell well, even if it doesn't have an explosive initial release like the PS5. It won't be an issue because the PS5 Pro is part of the PS5 family, so all games will work the same. I'm predicting that the PS5 Pro will sell better than the PS4 Pro because there are still about 50 million PS4 users waiting for an opportunity to upgrade. The PS5 Pro will be a good reason for them to upgrade, especially if Sony starts pushing out some first-party games in 2025. In reality, PS5 owners are generally happy with their consoles and might not feel the urgency to upgrade immediately. Heck, I'm still pretty happy with mine, so I might wait a few months or a year. Or, if this channel starts making serious ad revenue, I might buy it sooner just to review it hands-on. The PS5 Pro rumors are heating up so much this year that PS4 owners ready to buy a PS5 are now holding back. And it's very logical. I'd hate to buy a PS5 and then have the PS5 Pro release just 2 months later. Even if the PS5 Pro releases with only 3 to 5 enhanced games, it's still worth investing in the stronger console. But for PS5 users, if you ask me, it's not as urgent. By the end of 2025, though, I think everyone will want to snag a PS5 Pro. Intellectual comment number 3, stop spamming YouTube feeds with PS5 Pro videos. You're just making videos for no reason. Whether you like it or not, this is news as it develops. Developers are talking, leakers are talking, and people have questions. I'm here to share that information and help people make informed decisions. Who are you to comment on a video that probably took 3 days to produce with "Stop making these videos"? If you're not interested in the topic, don't click on it. I make these videos to provide accurate information. I even considered quitting YouTube, but then I saw a lot of misinformation circulating, and I felt I had something to say. Some people say to stop making PS5 Pro videos because it's not official news. Leaks and whistleblowers are part of the news. Yesterday, Tom Henderson, a renowned leaker, posted that developers have until the end of the month to submit their reports for PS5 Pro enhanced stickers to be used on their games. The fact that dev kits have been spotted and some developers have already talked about the PS5 Pro specs, don't you think that's worth reporting on? People want to know this. Sony is sneaky. They don't announce consoles months ahead of release because it would cannibalize their current consoles. They did this with the PS5 Slim, announcing faceplates for the old PS5 and a Spider-Man 2 bundle for the base PS5 just weeks before unveiling the PS5 Slim. This happens in all markets. Phones, laptops, graphics cards. The only reliable sources people have are us and the leakers. So no, it's not spam. It's about helping people make educated decisions and not getting screwed by companies. Imagine buying a PS5 for $450 and then a week later, the PS5 Pro for $550 comes out. I'd be furious. I wish they made a $1,000 PS5 version. Yeah, me too. Kind of. But we need to be careful what we wish for. To be honest, I also wish they'd make a $1,000 PS5 Pro, one that would truly come close to 4080 performance. I think we're past the drama of if it's over $500, it's a flop. People are buying smartphones over $1,200 every 2 years.